We are taught that wars are fought for flags, for freedom, for ideologies that divide the world into good and evil. But peel back the curtain of patriotism and you will find a different engine driving the machinery of conflict. Not of ideology, but of interest. Not of passion, but of profit. This is the untold story of war, the greatest financial operation in human history. World War I was not just the war to end all wars. It was the war that began the modern debt economy. Before the first shot was fired in 1914, the great powers of Europe were intertwined in a web of alliances and, more importantly, a web of credit. When the guns of August roared, the old world order shattered, and the bill came due. To fund the unimaginable cost of trenches and tanks, nations turned not just to their treasuries, but to their people. The concept of the war bond was born a powerful tool that transformed citizens into creditors of their own government's survival. The cost. World War I cost the participating nations an estimated $400 billion at the time. In today's value, a staggering $5 trillion. The funders. While taxes were raised, the primary mechanism was debt. The United States, entering late, became the banker. Through programs like Liberty Bonds, ordinary Americans loaned their government $17 billion, $260 billion today. But the real money moved behind the scenes. Banking dynasties like the House of Morgan acted as purchasing agents for the Allies, facilitating billions in loans and becoming a pivotal and highly profitable arbiter of the war's fate. World War II escalated this financial machinery to an industrial scale. The entire American economy was retooled into the arsenal of democracy. The cost. The total cost of World War II is almost incomprehensible. Estimates range from $1.5 to $2 trillion at the time. Adjusted for the 21st century, we are looking at a figure between $20 and $25 trillion. The funders. The US government launched the most successful bond campaign in history, selling over $185 billion worth $2.5 trillion today. But this was also the era of the cost-plus contract, a guarantee that corporations would have all their expenses covered, plus a guaranteed profit. The incentive was not to be efficient, but to produce endlessly. Who profits from this colossal expenditure? The answer lies not in the trenches, but in the boardrooms. The industrialist. Companies like Krupp in Germany, Vickers in Britain, and DuPont in America saw their valuations skyrocket. DuPont, for instance, saw its annual profits jump from $5 million to $82 million during WWI, a 1,540% increase. They supplied all sides with the tools of destruction, a business model where demand was guaranteed by desperation. The bankers. The legend of the Rothschild family's wealth, built on financing both sides of the Napoleonic Wars, set the precedent. In the 20th century, this role was institutionalized. Banks underwrite government debt, earning immense fees. They profit from the initial loans to fund the war, and often from the loans to rebuild what was destroyed. The oil barons and reconstructionists. World War II was a war of mobility, powered by oil. Corporations like Standard Oil became indispensable. But the real bonanza often comes after the fighting stops. Visual, split screen. On one side, the smouldering ruins of European cities. On the other, blueprints for the Marshall Plan and modern skyscrapers under construction. Narrator. The Marshall Plan, while hailed for rebuilding Europe, was also a brilliant economic stimulus for the United States. The $13 billion, over $150 billion today, was largely used by European nations to buy American goods, machinery, and expertise, cementing US economic dominance for half a century. But for every winner, there are millions who bear a hidden cost. The soldiers. Paid a pittance, they offer a currency no government can print: life, limb, and mental well-being. The long-term healthcare and disability costs for veterans from recent conflicts will run into the trillions. The taxpayers. The debt taken on to fund wars doesn't vanish. It lingers for generations, paid through taxes and, most insidiously, through inflation. Printing money to pay for war devalues the currency in everyone's pocket, a silent tax on the entire population. The nation. Infrastructure decays, social programs are gutted to fund the military, and the nation's priorities are permanently skewed towards the industry of conflict. Has the formula changed? The players have new names, but the game remains the same. Today, the military-industrial complex that President Eisenhower warned of in 1961 is a permanent, entrenched feature of the global economy. The US defense budget for 2023 alone was over $800 billion.